Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Subject Computer Science for 12th Standard, Unit number 2, Core Python, Chapter number 6, Control Structure, Part 2. Last class we covered these following topics, that is introduction, control structures, sequential statement, alternative or branching statement, that is simple if else, if else. Now in this class we are going to cover the last two topics of this chapter 6, that is iteration or looping construct. There are two types of iteration or loops, one is while loop, another one is for loop. Next topic is jump statement in Python. There are three jump statement: break, continue, pause. Let's start our class. First topic is iteration or loop statements, from which we are going to see the first loop, that is while loop. In your screen you can see a syntax for while loop. Before we start this class, we should understand the loop statement or iteration statement is used to execute a single or a group of statement more than one times or multiple times based upon a condition. So in this syntax you can see a keyword while, after that a condition within the angular bracket, and then a colon symbol. Based upon the condition is true, the statement block 1 is executed. If the condition is false, then the else block, that is statement block 2, is going to execute. So whenever the condition is true, block 1 execute. After that it go for again, loop goes to check the condition for a second time. If the condition is true, then the block 1 is also executed. If the again it go for checking for condition statement. In your flow chart below the syntax you can see, when statement start, a condition is checked. While statement, when the while loop start, the condition is checked. If the condition is true, conditional code are executed. After that, loop goes to check loop go to check the condition, and if the condition is true, again it execute the same conditional code. After executing the group or single code, that is conditional code, in your syntax block 1, after loop goes to check for condition. If the condition is false, then it goes to the false statement. Here false statement represent as else. So else part execute a single time, but the block 1 part execute a single or more than one times based upon the condition. So now we are going to see the first exercise number 6.6 to understand the while loop. Before we start this topic, so students should understand the code that is in your exercise number 6.6. This is the simple code for executing while loop, where we are using a variable called I. This variable is the control variable because it controls the overall operation of the while loop, because this variable is used within the condition based upon so here while, after that a condition is placed, that is I less than or equal to 15 and then colon. Here you can see a tab is inserted, tab is placed before this statement to to represent that the statement belongs to this while loop. If are not going to, if you didn't give this tab here, then the statement is not considered as a while loop. Now we are going to see this loop. Here the print is the loop statement, and I is equal to I plus 1 is the two loop statements are here, because both statements consist the tab before the statement begins. This tab represent that this statement belong to while loop. So to understand this while loop, we should start with the tabular column, where we are going to place three columns, namely loop count and value of I. We are using this column because here I is the counter variable, that is the control variable which is going to control the variable, control the loop. So this table is drawn to understand how loop is executed. Now first, when program start, the value of the I is 10. After that, loop statement is executed, that is while loop. Here the condition is going to execute. The condition is true because the value of I, that is 10, is less than or equal to 15. So yes, condition is true. So when the condition is true, the loop statements are going to execute. So here, when first loop is true, the value of the I is 10. Now after executing this statement, what will be the output? You can see print I. Now when the first loop execute, value of the I is 10, so print I means we are printing the value 10. After that, at the end of the statement, we are going to print this slash tab escape sequence. Because of this escape sequence, a tab space is placed after the 10, and then second loop statement is executed, that is I is equal to I plus 1. That means value of the 10, that is I is incremented by 1. Now at the end of the loop, value of the I is 11. After completing the loop statement, the loop goes to the condition statement and check the condition again. Here now the value of the I is 11, and value is 11 is compared with 15. Again the second time while loop is true, so because of the second time the condition is true, value of the I is 11. Now here going to print I. So of course we know in the screen already the 10 is printed with the tab. Now we are going to print the I, that is 11. The current value of the I is printed after the tab space. Now the output on the screen is 10 with space, that is tab space. After that 11 value is printed. So this is represented here. After completing the second statement, second loop, that is again the I value is incremented to 12. Now the I value is 12. When condition is checked, the condition is true because now the value of the I is 12. It is compared with 15. So third time the loop is going to execute, that is called loop count third. Here the value of the I is 12. So now we know already 10 and 11 is printed on the screen. Now I am going to, now the loop going to print the value I, that is 12 after the tab space. After printing the 12 value, the I is incremented by 1. Now the value of the I is 13. Again it goes to the condition and check. Now the value of the I is 13. When the condition is checked, the condition becomes true, and again the loop statement are executed. Here again the value of the I is printed. Of course we know already 10, 11, 12 is printed on the screen. So when fourth time loop executes, the value of the I, that is 13, is printed after the tab space. Again ending this and again printing this statement, the value of the I is incremented by 1. Now the value of the I is 14. When again it goes for a condition, now the fifth time the for loop is going to become true because I value is 14. The value which we compare with the 14 is 15. So the condition is true. So again the value of the I is printed on the screen after this tab space. 13 tab space is printed. 14 is printed on the screen. Again the value of the I is incremented by 15. So the sixth time the loop is going to execute because the sixth time also the condition becomes true. Now the value of the I is 15. So condition is true. So the 15 value is printed on the screen because of this statement after a tab. And again the value of the I is incremented by 1. Now the value of the I is 16. When loop goes to condition, here condition becomes false. After 6 times this statement executed, the loops ends. So this is the simple example, that is exercise number 6.6 in our book. Now we are going to execute this statement in Python program. I already prepared this program in our file, the scripted shell script mode, where I am going to open the program 6.6. Here you can see the same program, that is I is equal to 10. The loops is started here. I less than or equal to 15, and the two statements are executed here. One is printing I with the tab space, another one is incrementing the I value. Now I am going to execute this program. Here you can see the value is 1 by 1 printing the statement. Now the end value is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Each time whenever the loop execute, it's placed the tab. That's it. So here you can see the overall output. If you make any changes in this program, see, now I am going to remove these tabs before the loop statement and save the program. After saving the program, now I'm going to execute. Here you should understand, I remove the tabs. Now I'm going to execute this program. Here you can see a error. Expected an indent block. That is, indent is inserted. Indent should be inserted before the loop statement. Then only loop can execute the statement. So we should place the indent before the statement which we are going to insert as a loop statement. So I hope you understand this program. So next program is the 6.7. In this program, we are using a else part also. So more or less 6.6 and 6.7 is same program up to the statement, true statement, that is I is equal to I plus 1. The only change in the 6.7 is we are using here a else part. Else part execute once when the only one time when the condition is false. Condition becomes false at the time of value becomes 16. So here you can see when loop execute, first time value of the I is 10, where 10 is printed. Second time value of the I is 11, 11 is printed after 10. Now when the third time execute, 12 is printed after 11. And in the same way, when the sixth loop count execute, 15 is printed after 14. This is the final answer which we are going to see on the screen after printing this loop block 1 statement, that is true statement. When the condition becomes false, that is the else part is going to execute. Else part is going to execute. Condition becomes false when the I value becomes 16. So else part is executed. See here you can see the I value is 16. That's why condition is false. The else part is executed. That is in else part we can see value of I when the loop exit is I. So this is the statement which we are going to print, that is value of I when the loop exit I. I means the value of I is printed at the else part, that is 16 is printed in the else part. Now we are going to execute the program 6.7. 6.7. Here we are using same program with else part. See, now I am going to execute this program. You can see 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 printed because the condition is true for 6 times. After that, when condition becomes false, when the I value is 16, else part is executed. In else part there is a statement called value of I when the loop exit I. I means the variable, the control variable. So at the end of the loop, the value of the I is 16. So from that we can understand how loop executed. This is the simple concept of using loop in Python. So again, now we are going to see the second loop called for loop. This is also a iteration statement, but with a simple syntax. Here you can see syntax. In syntax, there is a word for is used. After that, a control variable is used, and another keyword is used, that is called in. So in for loop we are using two keywords, one is for, another one is in. Between that we are using a control variable, that is counter variable, which control the overall operation of the for loop. After that a sequence is the statement. So here sequence means there is a range called with three statements which we are going to discuss in next topic. So we should understand this sequence, then only we can able to understand the for loop. So first understand, in for loop statement there are two keywords, one is for, another one is in. Counter variable defined by the user, sequence is defined by the user. Statement block 1, of course we know, that is the true part. When condition becomes true, this statement is going to execute. Else part, of course, no, when condition is false, the block 2 is going to execute. In both while and for loop, else part is the optional part. We can use else, we can use for loop with else or without else. It is up to user. So now we are going to understand the flow chart. Here the very first time when loop execute, here the condition, you can see the statement here. Condition is last item reached. So each time for loop check, that is in the sequence for loop reach the last statement or not. So here if you reach the last statement, then condition is yes, then go to the exit. If the last item is not reached, then condition becomes false, that is no. So then the body of the loop is executed. The only difference between while and for loop is, in while loop, when the condition is true, then the statement block 1 is going to execute. But in for loop, when the condition, that is, we are checking the last item reached. So when the condition is false, then only the block 1, that is the true block, is going to execute body of the for loop. And again, after executing the body of for loop, the loop go to check again for last item reached. So whenever last item reached checked, if the condition is false, then only the block 1 is executed. If the condition, that is last item reached condition, is true, then the second statement, that is block 2, is going to execute. We can understand this for loop with the simple example. Before that, we should understand the sequence. So in for loop, we can use the sequence with this syntax with the statement called range. So in sequence, we should insert this range. Range consists of 3 components. One is start, stop, step. So start refers to the initial value of the for loop. Stop refers to the final value of the for loop. Step refers to the increment value. This is optional part. So there are 3 components in the range which are going to use in the sequence. Start value refers to initial value of the for loop. Stop value, it is the final value of the for loop. Step value is the increment. We can use this step value or we can skip it, because this statement, that is the step component, is the optional. So here are some of the examples for range. In this statement, you can see start value is 1, stop value is 30, increment value is 1. When you use this range in sequence, what will happen? We'll start the range of values from 1 and end at the 29. So here you can see value, the range starts from 1 and end at 29. So one by one the value is incremented, because here we are using increment value is 1. In second range, when we use this statement 232, here 2 is the initial value, that is the stop value. Again we are using a 2, which one is the step value. Here you can see this range value starts with the value from 2 and end at 28. Each and every time whenever the loop ends, the increment value is 2. So very first time the range value is 2. After, when second time execute, the range value is 4, not 3. But here 1, 2, 3, 4, in this manner, that is one by one the value is incremented in this range, because we are using a 1 at this step value. But in this range, the loop value starts from 2 and 2 is incremented. After the second statement, after executing the first statement, the value of the for loop is 4, and then 8, and then 6, and then 8. Two values are incremented in this range. So here the value starts from 30 and end at 6, because the value of the increment step value is -3. Now the value starts from 30, the second value is 27, because step value is -3. Each and every time the for loop in counter value decrement by -3. When it reaches the 6, this loop, this range ends, because when we separate this value, when you reduce this 6 by -3, we reach the stop value. It is not possible in this range. So that's why this loop ends at the 6. When we are using only one value in the range, it means we'll consider 20 as the end value. So here 20 is considered as a when value. When you are using only one value, insist of using 3 values, that is start, stop, step. Here start, stop, step we should use in range, but here we are going to give only one value. Then the range, consider this 20 as a stop value, starts from 1 and end at 19. Each and every time this range is decremented by -1, sorry, incremented by -1. So this is the simple concept of using range. Here we are using to understand this concept by using a simple program. In this program we can see a for loop statement is executed. Here for keyword is used, in keyword is used. Between that we are using a counter variable which controls the overall operation. After the range is set up, here you can see the range starts from 20, end at 10. Each and every time loop is incremented by 2, and we are going to print this statement one by one. So here you can see print I. After printing the value I, we are giving a space, not a tab. So when the first two loops start, the value of the start value, that is I value is 2. That's why the loop count, first count value of the I is 2. The loop is printed on the screen. After loop end, we are going to check the condition, we reach the last item or not. No, the condition is false. So again the value is incremented for 4. Now the value is printed on the screen. When next third loop is executed, because the counter variable didn't reach the last item. So with the counter variable, when the loop start is 2, after second loop the counter variable value is 4. After third statement, after second statement, the value of the counter variable is 6. After the fourth statement, the counter variable becomes 10. Here the for loop reaches this value, that's why the loop exit. So now we are going to execute this 6.9. Now I am going to open the program 6.9. Here you can see the simple program. The only changes I made here, that instead of using space I am using a hyphen here. So you can see end is equal to hyphen within the single quotation. Now I am going to execute this program. You can see 2 hyphen 4 hyphen 6 hyphen 8 hyphen. So this is the simple for loop statement with the range value. That is, here we are using 3 range values. 2, that is the start value, 10 stop value, 2 is the increment value. So I hope you understand this program. Now we are going to use many programs to understand this for loop. The next program for loop is 6.10. Here we are using a else part. The simple thing, that is, whenever the condition is false, whenever the for loop didn't reach the stop value, it executes this statement. When for loop reaches the stop value, the condition becomes false, condition becomes true, then the else part is executed, end of the loop. So now we are going to execute 6.10. 6.10. This is the for loop statement with else part. Now we are going to execute the loop. Here you can see I am using a space, but in this program I changed that the space is changed with the hyphen. Now you can see 2, 4, 6, 8 is executed whenever the condition didn't reach the stop value. When the condition reached the stop value, the else part is executed, that is end of the for loop. End of the for loop statement is executed. So here you can see else part. After pressing the for and else part, we should use this semicolon. This is compulsory. If you didn't give the semicolon, the error message will be seen in your screen. Will display in your screen. Next program which we are going to discuss is 6.11. So this is the simple program where we are using two variables. One is n, another one is sum. After that we are using a counter variable, counter, namely counter. In the range we are given only two value, 1, n plus 1. The first value is start value, n plus 1 is the stop value. Increment value is skipped here. In the 6.10 we give the increment value as 2. In 6.9 also we give the increment value as 2, but here in 6.11 we skip this increment value. So the default increment value is 1. Now we are going to understand what happened in this program. Whenever the counter loop start, the increment value is 1, that is counter value is 1. At that time the sum is equal to sum plus counter statement execute. Here when the first loop start, the value of the sum is 0. That's why the 0 is placed in the sum variable. The counter variable consists of 1. So after adding 0 plus 1, the overall value of the sum is 1. Then when the second loop count execute, the value of the counter variable is 2. At that time, the value of the sum is 1, because last statement, which we know that sum is equal to sum plus 1. When the last statement execute, the value of the sum is 0, the counter variable is 1. We add this sum and counter variable and store the value in the sum variable. So that is executed here. Again, in the second statement, we add the value of sum with the counter variable, that is 1 plus 2, 3. And when the third loop is executed, the counter variable value is 3. In sum, there is the value 3. So 3 plus 3, 6. After when fourth count is executed, value of the counter variable is 4. So sum value is 6. 6 plus 4. Now each and every time the sum variable is incremented and added with numbers. After executing loop count 5, the counter variable is 5, the sum value is 10. So 10 plus 5, 15. So when the loop count enter the sixth count, the counter variable value is 6. At that time, the value ends, because n plus 1, that is n is equal to 5 plus 1. So 6, when the loop count enter into the sixth value, loop exit. After executing this loop statement, the sum of 1 until 5 is 15 is printed on the screen, because we are using this print statement without tab. So that's why this statement consider as a program statement and not as a loop statement. So this print statement execute only when the loop ends and go for the next statement. In this statement, you can see sum of until %d and %d. These are the format identifier which we are using in C++. These format identifier for two variables, namely n and sum. The first format %d represent the n value. The second %d represent the sum value. After we are going to print this value n and 15 at the end of the program. Now we are going to execute this program in the Python, that is 6.11. Here you can see there are two variables, n is equal to 5, sum is equal to 0. Now I am going to execute this program. You can see the output, sum of 1 until 5, that is 15. The simple program to add the value from 1 to 15. If you want to change if you want to find the value, some value for range from 1 to 100, then you should mention the value, n value should be incremented to 100. So here you can see n value is changed as 100. Now the loop starts from 1 and end at 11. So each and every time the value of a counter is stored and added with the sum value. So it means all the values between 1 and 100 are added and stored in the sum. Finally we get the answer. And so here you can see the sum of 1 until 100 is 5050. So this is the simple program to add the numbers between two numbers. So this is the simple program for understanding the for loop. Now next program which we are going to understand in the Python program is 6.12. Here instead of using range, we are using a word for controlling the for loop. Here we are not going to give start value, step value or stop value. The simple thing which we are going to give is this word. Based upon the word, the for loop consider the start value, automatically calculate the stop value and end whenever the loop enter the last character of the string. So this is the for loop using a string as a sequence. So here you can see for word. Word is the counter variable, in is the keyword, computer is the string for loop. So each and every time we are going to print the word counter variable for the loop. So here word fetches the character one by one and print on the screen. and each time whenever the character uh, fetches from the string, the character is stored in the variable word and printed at this string. So here you can see for word in computer, when the first loop execute, the first letter is fetched from the string, that is C, and printed on the screen C with a hyphen. After the loop ends, the second letter is fetched from the string and printed on the screen with the hyphen. And the third letter is fetched and printed on the screen, that is M. Fourth time P is fetched and P is print. So in the same way, 8 characters are fetched one by one from the string computer and printed on the screen by placing between hyphen. Placing hyphen at the end of the each word. After when for loop end reaches the last character, the loop becomes false. Then the else part execute. That is none character is in the word. So the end of the loop is executed. Now we are going to use this. Now we are going to execute this program 6.12, where we are not using any start, stop or step value. We are using a string based upon the length, based upon the number of character. This for loop is going to execute. Now you can see COMPUTER are executing one by one. So because here I made some changes, that is at the end value I place a /n. So /n is the escape sequence which create a new line. When first character prints, a new line is entered. When second character is print, another new line is entered. So now I'm going to change this /n into hyphen. After making changes, I save the program. Now I'm going to execute the program. Now you can see C hyphen O hyphen M hyphen, and each and every time the character print, the hyphen is entered at the end. After the for loop reaches the last character, when we for loop unable to identify any character, the loop stops and go for the else part. In the else part, end of the loop statement is printed. So this is the simple program for using string in the for loop. So if you want to now I'm going to change the string value into Mazhar Ulum. Now I'm going to execute this program. Here you can see Mazhar Ulum is going executed one by one. Here space is also considered as a character because this space is a white space. So this is the same example for using string in the for loop. The next program which we are going to execute is 6.13. So in this example we are going to understand the nested loop, that is using a loop within another loop. Before in the previous examples we only use single loop in a program. Now here in exercise number 6.13 we are using two loops, namely while loop and for loop. The only difference is here while loop is considered as a outer loop, for loop is considered as a inner loop. So now we are going to create a big table. For two loops we are using two loop count. One is for loop count column, another one is while loop count column, another one is for loop count column. So while loop is controlled by I variable, for loop is controlled by J variable. So while loop execute up to 6, from 1 to 6. For loop execute from 1 to I. That is each and every time the value of value of J reaches the I, for loop exit. So now we are going to understand this program. So first value when the program start, value of the I is 1. When while loop starts, so here condition is true because value of the I is less than 6. Now for loop is executed. At that time first loop, that is first for loop count executed. Here the condition is false because loop starts from 1 but ends at 1. So J value is 1, I value is 1. So this is the stop value for loop. So loop stops at the beginning itself. So for loop not started here. So after that, print end, yes, slash new, a new line is printed and the I is incremented by 1. Now while loop completed for first time. The second loop starts for while count. Here the I value is 2. Where now when for loop starts here again with 1. So now the j value is 1, I value is 2. So condition is 2 because the n value is 2. So in the screen 1 is printed. When the for loop count execute to j reaches to the for loop end. After that a new line is entered, i's value is incremented by 1. Now the I value becomes 3. Again the for loop execute with 1. Here you can see value of the j is 1 is printed on the screen. After the second for loop value executed, j value is 2. Here also the 2 is printed because the end value is 3. When the for loop count reaches the third loop, the j value becomes 3. So that's why for loop ends. So each and every time whenever for loop starts with 1 and ends, but where while loop ends only once time. Here you can see for loop starts 5 times and ends with end 5 times. Now we are going to execute the for loop while loop with for fourth time. The value of the I is 1. Again the for loop starts from 1. The 1 value is printed, and second time the 2 is printed on the screen and 3 is printed on the screen. After when the j value reaches the fourth time, the loop ends because the I value and j value is same. That is, here the I value is considered as a stop value. Again while loop is incremented, I value is incremented by 5. While loop executed for fifth time, again the for loop starts from 1. The 1 value is printed, again 2 values printed, again 3 values printed, again 4 values printed. When for loop reaches the 5, that is j value 5, the I value is 5. So for loop ends because the 5 is the stop value. So again the value of the I is incremented by 1. That is, now the I value is 6. The condition becomes 2. Again it enters into the while loop. Here for loop starts from 1. So again 1 is printed, 2 is printed, 3 is printed, 4 is printed, 5 is printed. When for loop, that is j value, reaches the sixth value, where for loop ends because the stop value is 6. So for loop ends. So here you can see while loop executed 6 times. See, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 time while loop is executed. 6 time while loop becomes 2. When the while loop reaches the 7th time, while loop ends. But for loop is executed 15 times. How we can see, when the while loop is executed for first time, for loop is not executed because the stop value is 1 and j value is 1. So both the value are same. So that's why it's not start. So loop ends. When the while loop reaches the second time, I value is 2. For loop starts for 1 time. So execute the value 1. So here the 1. In this statement, when the while value is 3 times executed, what is 1 plus 2? After when the fourth time count time, while loop executed, for loop executed 3 times. When the fifth time while loop executed, for loop executed for 4 times. When the while loop executed for sixth time, for loop executed by 5 times. So total value for loop executed is 15 times. Now the final result for the screen is 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is going to printed in this manner. Now we are going to execute this program in Python program 6.13. The example program for nested loop. See, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is printed in the diagonal format, which is the example program for explaining nested loop. So this statement only created by using loop within a loop. So of course we know the concept of using for loop and while loop. Now we are going for the second exercise number 6.14. So this is the exercise. where we are using a jump statement, which we already discussed in the beginning. That is, there are three jump statement: break statement, continue statement, and pause statement. These three statements are called jump statement because it jumps from the loop. Yes, this is the three statement. Only by using this statement only we can stop the loop at the middle. So here you can see for loop is used with this thing, where we are using a condition called if word is equal to e, then we execute the break statement. Otherwise we print the content. So each and every time whenever the for loop ends, it fetches the first statement j, print on the screen with the hyphen, after u, after m, after p, after space, after s, after t, after a. When after t is printed, after t is printed at the ninth loop count, when the loop reaches the e statement, when the loop fetches the character from a jump statement, this condition becomes true. At that time break is executed. So break simply terminate the for loop. So loop stops at the when the for loop reaches this letter e. So this is the simple example which terminate the loop without ending, without reaching the end point. So now we are going to execute this program 6.14. So simple break statement which terminate the program between uh, the loop statements. Now see here, you can see jump JUMPSTATE. When the loop statement reaches the E, the condition, that is if condition becomes true, this break statement execute which terminate the program, which terminate the for loop before it reaches the last letter. So if you want to terminate at the point M, then you can see you can place M statement. So here I change the condition word is equal to m. When the for loop reaches the m letter for first time, this loop is terminated. That is, in this program we are going to get only two values on the screen, that is j, u. M is not going to print on the screen. See, j, u is printed on the screen. When for loop reaches for third letter m, this condition becomes true, the break statement executed. So break statement terminate the for loop without reaching the last letter. Now we are going to use the second jump statement called, so this is the second example 6.15. Here we are using a else part also. So here you can see else part is not executed because this statement, that is for loop, didn't reach the last statement. So you can see JUMPETSTATE. When the statement reaches the E, break statement executed. Because the break statement executed, the else part is not executed. The next part, that is end of the program part, is execute. So now we are going to open this program. So now I am going to execute this statement. You can see jump state is printed. When the program for loop reaches the E, condition becomes true. So that's why the break statement execute. But we are using else part also here. Else part is not executed because we didn't reach the last letter. For example, if you are using a statement called I, so now we are using a condition. Now here I change the condition value into I. So this condition is going to is not going to true because I is not here. So whenever we execute this program, the full statement, that is jump statement full letters are executed. After that, end of the loop is also executed, and then end of the program is also executed. See, you can see jump statement and end of the loop, end of the program, all the statements are executed. So all the letters are printed one by one, and the end of the loop is also printed, end of the program also printed, because I letter is not here. This condition is this condition, if condition is not executed for a single time. So break statement terminate the whole loop and didn't allow to execute the else part of the break, sorry, for loop. So this is the concept which you want to understand. That is, whenever break statement is used within the for loop, it terminates the whole program. Even the else part is not allowed to execute. The next program is 6.16. Here we are using a second jump statement called continue. The only difference between break and continue is continue skip the current position for executing the for loop. Break statement terminate the overall for loop execution. So here you can see, whenever the for loop reaches the E letter, the continue jump statement execute and skip that particular line. Here you can see, when the for loop reaches the E letter, balance lines are skipped, and second term, the next letter is printed on the screen M. When the second term E is fetched for loop, the continue statement executed. At that time, the balance lines are skipped, but the the letters other than E, all the letters are printed one by one, and else part is also printed here. So we are using continue break jump statement in 6.16 program. So only difference is that break statement terminate the program, but jump statement skip the program and allow the skip the for loop statement at the current position, allow to execute other lines. So 6.16. Now I am going to execute this program. You can see JUMPSTATE. E letters are skipped for 2 times because we are using continue statement. Other characters are printed one by one, and else part also printed in this program, and end of the program statement is also printed in the program. So from this statement we can understand that continue statement only skip the particular step. That is, whenever the condition reaches, that is for loop reaches the E, condition becomes true, then the execution, that is printing of E is skipped here. Printing of E is skipped here. So 2 times printing of E is skipped here, but the other statements are printed, and for loop it reaches the last term. But when using a break statement in for loop is not allowed to reach the last character because it terminates. So break terminate the for loop, continue skip the particular line at the point. So this is the simple example for understanding the continue loop. Now we are going to understand the third break continue, and the last program which we are going to understand is the past statement, exercise number 6.17. Here we are using a jump statement called pass. Pass is here simply called a placeholder. So it does not allow any so pass, when we execute the pass statement, the enter any number is asked by the program. We are going to enter a number 8. A non-zero value is accepted. So whenever the program executed, enter any number is printed on the screen. A number is accepted from user and placed in the variable called A, and the value is checked with the 0. If the value is 0, then the pass statement execute. So whenever we run this program, if you give the value 0, then the pass jump statement executed. Now you can see there is no changes, there is no execution in this program. But if you are using this pass statement in, so this is called a simple placeholder for pass is called as a placeholder. So next program which we are going, this is the last topic of the exercise. So now in this video we understand two concept. One is for loop, while loop, and jump statement. Three jump statement called break, continue. So break simply terminate the loop statement, continue skip at particular statement at particular point, then pause statement simply pause the statement, that is it is just a placeholder. Now this placeholder is only useful for the programmer to insert any programs in future. So I hope you understand this concept. Prepare well. We will see in the next class.